Howdy. Welcome back to MCubed. And we got some thoughts on Ahsoka. We've got Brad this way. There we go. That's not too bad. Then we got Christian down here. And it was a very interesting episode. There were highs, there were lows, there were underwhelming moments, there were overwhelming moments. There were some really high points, I think, and let's jump, huh? What were y'all's
it's like highs and mids, I think. I don't know about lows, just kind of just like
yeah.
What were the highs for you guys?
Yeah.
Because
high points. I think I would say for one, I really loved seeing the a further display and seeing them in action, especially the night troopers. So cool, so cool, and so much mystery that ranges from the answer to which ranges from very just cool sci-fi fantasy to like very disturbing possibilities of what's really going on. And I think further insight to Baylan and Shin was really good. I think that was cool. Ezra, excellent. I think he was one of the high points of the episode, was just getting to interact with him. And of course, my man Thrawn is goated.
He's great.
That's in short view what I really liked.
No, I'm with you. I agree with
that.
You.
I agree with that.
My favorite part, I think, was the Ahsoka and Baylan stuff, and or Baylan in general. I think Baylan in general was my favorite part of the episode.
Absolutely.
If I had to sum it up, Christian.
You know what? I also have to agree about Baylan. I think every single episode I see him in, he just is just such a shining star. Acting, I love the way he brings the character to like just so much intrigue. I can't wait to see what they have in store for him, man. I'm intrigued by him because I'm like the way that they find him, and then he just kind of sends Shin off, and he's like, "Go! I have other stuff to do." What is this guy thinking? What is he doing?
I didn't expect that.
I didn't either. I was like, okay, well, duel. We're gonna see a sick ass duel between possibly 5 Jedi. I don't know. I was really excited for that. I mean, I don't know. I
mean, we could have gotten Duel of the Fates level action today.
Dude, it could have been sick. It could have been sick. That's what I was expecting, honestly.
I was too. He held back. Dave held back, which I kind of respect as like a creative move. He wants to, I think, build these this tension, these encounters of different people getting like a sense of each other's abilities, but then there's going to be a final like both sides have no other choice but like to the death, and that's what I think he's waiting for.
I'd be right, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be fucking good.
Yeah, no, something's building. I'm with you. I respect it because it feels very Dave, and he's a slow burner. I love slow burns, but I understand people, I guess, feeling like this because it does feel underwhelming in the short term. In the long term, I think we'll look back on this fondly, but right now it feels a little more action-packed with less story. I just wish it was a very short episode. If there were maybe like 8 to 10, 12 more minutes more of meat, just somewhere in there, I would have liked that. It feels like almost they held something back for maybe a season 2 right now. Not positive, just thinking about it, but I just feel like there should have been something more to lead us to where we're heading to in a finale, because I have no idea where we're heading to in the finale, honestly. And that's where I'm a little iffy, I guess.
Well, I think that for me, we can wait to get into it, but I think that lies in a lot of my criticism of the episode is where those problems stem from. But we can touch on that later if you want.
Oh yeah,
how many episodes are planned for the first season?
Uno más.
Yeah, and that just story-wise, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're going into we need an episode 10.
I feel like this should be in any other like TV show. This would be like the mid-season finale,
or even that.
Well, my whole worry is
part 2.
Well, I think last week felt like what would be a mid-season, and then this is like that pickup where we get our plot threads for season 1B. Like this is what we're gonna lean into, but yeah, as of right now, I don't know where it feels like it feels like perhaps a part 1 or something.
It doesn't feel necessarily complete in the way I would have expected it to. And that intrigues me and worries me, I guess, leading into the finale. Mostly intrigues.
My whole thing is the actor who played Balin, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, is gone. He passed away.
The great.
So his character, it just feels like there's so much more. And they only did 1 season. So I don't know, man. I'm worried.
I was gonna pose the question: Would you guys be okay with a recast for the sake of the character? I probably would be.
I feel like they have to,
but it needs to be somebody good. I think perhaps right off the top of my head, I'd nominate, if he'd do it, Stephen Lang. Perhaps. That's the first person that popped in my head, just because like head shape, the gray like kind of spiked hair. He could get a beard going. Rather big guy.
He doesn't have that Shakespearean quality that Bailey.
No, that's the thing. I think he shows a lot of grit and a lot of talent in both Avatar films, and that's what I don't know. That's my first top of the head thing.
He's great. There's just something, I don't know. Gerard Butler came to mind, but he doesn't have Shakespearean level something either, necessarily. So,
who
has that kind of look?
Weirdly would, and just bear with me on this. Russell Crowe would kill it.
Oh, he'd be great.
Please, Russell Crowe would kill that. Like,
get him jacked, get him pretty built.
He could do it. He'd be such a great. But like, because he's gone, I feel. See, I didn't even know there was only 8 episodes planned. I should have assumed from Kenobi and from Andor and Mandalorian and blah blah blah.
Andor had a couple extra, which was nice, but
yeah.
I saw just randomly. I saw Sci-Fi Quest's comment where he said he doesn't want the recast, but I'm like, okay, there we go. But I'm like, okay, think about it though. For the sake of the entire narrative, would you rather it just be like Control-Alt-Deleted, or like?
Yeah, true.
I would just only, unless you can make it work in something where like perhaps the season 1 itself ends on a cliffhanger, and then we can kind of pick up with some kind of aftermath where they go, oh, he died in us jumping back to the real galaxy. Maybe that's how they'd explain it. I don't know. But I would rather, if it doesn't work that way, I would rather the character continue to a cathartic end, personally.
And I totally agree. It feels like the performance was so good in season 1 that if we get to a season 2 and the role needs to be replaced, if it were not to be, it would almost feel like negligent for how well it was done in season 1.
Yeah, it would just feel empty.
You can't kill him off screen. You can't kill that good of
an No. It would be such also like it would feel like, as an audience of it, I'd feel cheated. Like, oh, what? Yeah. This all-powerful guy who knew of Anakin Skywalker with all this, survived Order 66, all this stuff. What? He just dies?
Means nothing. But you could say you could be like, well, he helped Thrawn get to the galaxy, but like, okay, but come on. He's like a Vader 2.0 to the Emperor that really is Thrawn.
A Balin-based animated prequel show, that would be dope. That would be great.
I'm into that.
I'm into that for sure.
But who would voice him then?
Russell Crowe.
Bring him in.
Still, we're getting Russ.
Honestly, I'd be totally in for that. If they can handle it. It's Star Wars. They can do that. They can do that. Ray Stevenson was a find anyway, They can do Russell Crowe any day. I almost said Russell Stevens, that's the name, but it sounds like it could be. But to bring it back, you just said something a minute ago about Anakin and him knowing Baylan. I know
great scene.
it sucks that we've lost
So
Ray
cool.
Stevenson, but that Anakin stuff, to bring it back to a high note, was some of the best live action like training I think we've gotten.
Oh, I thought the same thing, dude. Like the intensity of her like doing these moves and the tenderness, but like the balance of, you can tell that there's a lot of intensity with this guy, but he's being like, I feel like there's always a part of Anakin is like, especially with Ahsoka, he's doing a lot to like the inner child that is himself that was neglected in slavery, and he's like trying to, connect with a younger person.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it was making me tear up a little bit. It always happens when I see Anakin.
Dude,
I loved it.
When I saw the first appearance of him, I literally stood up and I was like, "Oh my God, it's him!"
Oh,
and
yeah.
The next episode when they really dove into Ryloth and like the campaign, and he's like, "War, you must change at the times, Ahsoka," like all that stuff. I was like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing!" Amazed. And then today we got to see him again in his General Skywalker uniform, kind of with the training hollow.
Looks great.
So perfect, man.
It's amazing.
Seamless. I love it. But I don't know. I just want to get more into. Yeah, this is so funny. I just like, honestly.
I think it was the hair, Sci-Fi Quest. I think the hair needed to be slightly longer.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I could see.
To me, that's what made it look a little off.
He did have some. I saw a comment about de-aging on that. I saw a little bit of that, a little kind of obvious de-aging that was a little too forced.
Yeah, but it's getting better than 40-year-old Anakin as a Padawan.
That's true. I mean, yeah.
That was a weird choice.
The
choice to not go just all like late Clone Wars era flashbacks was a really weird choice to me.
I agree with that.
Yeah. The Quest is saying that the hair was also too light in there. I feel like I
think it was the lighting of the scene.
Well, I feel like they tried to go like Anakin's hair in the Clone Wars show.
Yeah.
Which is just not like a real hair color. So it was like
no. It's obviously a paint color. It's not a human hair.
Yeah.
Just is kind of just a little off.
I mean,
that's probably why.
Super fair.
But just the training scene overall was dope. The one thing that I'm confused in, I guess, this era of Star Wars, and obviously there are reasonings for different things where you can adjust the weight of your lightsaber, the length of your lightsaber, and that's all like in however you fine-tune it. But even in the Ahsoka training scene, everything we've seen with Baylan, and it kind of feels like that with Sabine as well. Sabers feel a lot more weighted than they have before, where they felt very weightless and they would just slice through things for years and years and years. And now I feel like they're much heavier, if that makes sense. Obviously, the dark saber is one thing, but like just your general lightsaber, like even Ahsoka just training in her own little area didn't feel as like fluid. Obviously, we're used to animation, and that's very fluid. But
true. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it like looks a little clunky, like the way you're saying.
More sword-like, and not necessarily like a lightsaber. It felt like a steel saber,
Well, I don't think that's fully bad, because that's how I always thought about it, and like that's how George talks about how in reality there's like a lot of downward force coming out of it, so to hold it up, it actually takes a lot of strength, and then like the force, how kind of in tune you're in like with the metaphysical aspect of the combat, that also plays a part in how well it's how well you can swing it, because in the prequels it makes a lot of sense that this is height of the Order, people that have gotten to the height of their training, battling it out, and then especially with with the original trilogy, Luke being so not, he's not a novice by the end of it, but he's still, he's got a different level of training than what the prequel Jedi Order has.
Yeah.
And then I think that makes sense for the sequels, which have decent fights actually, but they're just like, good scenes in a kind of nothing burger, so it doesn't really matter. But they also, I like how the lightsabers feel and look in those as well.
They feel a little heavier as well.
Yeah. I don't know if I really... No, I don't know. I think in this episode it was okay, but I think it still ties into my critique about just how there wasn't enough like intensity with a lot of the stuff happening in the episode
I agree.
Like on a like in camera level. Like I feel like it was still a little like going through the motions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Which it feels like something. It feels like something that could have been much more, I guess, fluid and not so clunky with all of like the horse and howler racing, whatever they're called, the little buggies that everybody's in. I think the best weighted moments were Baylan and Ahsoka, and everything else was kind of maybe just oddly paced.
Dude, yeah. For some reason, the last couple of Star Wars things that have come out, like any land chase scene that has anything other to do, like excluding space, the Boba Fett Power Ranger bullshit motorcycle
I was
scene,
like, that's where it started. Like,
it's the cringiest chase scene I've ever seen in my life. Not even just like in Star Wars, but ever. And then they just can't do the chase scenes. So like those weird pods that were slow moving, and then I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't hit me right. Didn't.
It was strange because you have these galloping like horse level creatures, but then these things are like moving along at like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, like the same pace of like a droid carrier.
Right, yeah. And then but a horse, you're going fast at a gallop, but it seemed like they were going at the same pace as the buggy, even though like that wouldn't make any sense.
It was interesting, man. Dude, I don't know. I have like a lot of. I love Ahsoka. Okay, I do. Yeah. I do love it. But this episode, just like you guys said, the pacing was off.
Do you think they might have taken something out of it to put it maybe in an episode 8, or maybe keep a little bit out of even episode 8 and take it?
That's a good question.
Another season, cliffhanger a little bit.
It's totally possible.
Yeah, it just feels not necessarily
incomplete.
Close. Yeah.
This is how I would say. I think the pacing is off, not in terms of like the dramatic like storytelling, but for me rather like it's in like the kinetic like energy of the fighting. Like agreed. I felt that. I think I like by pacing I sort of think about how like the events is kind of like play out in a sequence. Yeah. And I thought that was okay relatively. We all agreed it could have been longer and more could have been into like the arc, but I think it overall worked. But to speak to like what we've all been saying, I think something was off about the speed of what they were doing in the stunts and like the intensity of the camera movements. Like it all needed way more oomph. To lack of a better word.
I feel like if it was quicker moving, it would have given more oomph and more like just little more chutzpah to what Thrawn was saying to a degree. Because just
Yiddish?
Great word.
Great word.
Or gumph,
gumph.
Because I felt like the Thrawn stuff was just a little off. He was over explaining himself. It was a little too much like I'm the smart guy in the room,
Yeah.
He literally was like, What about what I see?
Yeah.
The camera moves down to show the thing. How about this? Villain exposition to explain what I'm doing.
Like if it wasn't Lars Mikkelsen just voicing him, it would be cheesy and awful.
It would be a little, yeah.
Dude.
Thankfully his performance is keeps it grounded enough, but I feel like that would have had a little more gumph if the action sequences would have had a little more snap to them, just because it would have been the slowing down moments where instead of you feel like, oh, these slow action sequences are leading to slower dialogue, and it would have made the words more weighted. to be heard, I guess, and maybe made him feel a little less cheesy in that way.
This is gonna sound random as a reference point, but I think they need to put a lot of focus as a critique. Like they need to up the intensity with the the combat itself, the choreography, and I think they need to. And this is again because I've been reading something like Berserk, which has a lot of dynamism in terms of how like bladed combat is going and like how it makes sense for each like character and their design and their physical strengths and attributes. And like I think if they had especially someone using the storyboards as well, like if they had someone that had a more like dynamic, perhaps like comic book or some level of visual flair added to the camera as well, not just in terms of angles, but like depth of field and like the depth of the frame and how motion is going. I think something like that would really benefit the fight choreography.
Well, a slew of things, honestly, like all those things put together. Yeah. And it's not like they haven't done it before. The thing that my brain goes to immediately was, we can get into it in a second, but Ezra, as cool as I do, like hippy dippy, like I'll fight with my hands, Ezra, grab your lightsaber and use your freaking lightsaber. This is Star Wars, please.
Why not both?
Why not both? There's room because
I like this. I like this Aang type of thing.
Do it.
Yeah, but it was
don't pick a blaster 2 seconds later either.
I noticed that as well. I was like,
anyway, yeah, we can get into that, but
the Force is all I need. Okay, then put down the freaking blaster, man.
Why not both? I completely lost track of what I was saying because I got into that thought process.
That happens, dude. I get it.
No, yeah. So let's dive there because it was weird to see him pick up a blaster 2 seconds after saying, "I'm not gonna use a lightsaber. I'm gonna use my fist." Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, I'm back in it. I brought myself back from the brain fart. What I expected to see would have been something that Disney's brought forth in live action Star Wars before, was like Donnie Yen in Rogue One. I want a little Chirrut Imwe, I think is the character's name.
Yes, Chirrut.
I would have loved to have seen something like that and seen that level, and there's no reason why I guess it wasn't there.
He started off doing a move where he like does a dodge, and then that's like all he does.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, show me like flipping over the laser bolts and like deflecting them, and I don't know, do something.
Like, let's get some more choreography.
It's the choreography.
It's lackluster.
If it weren't, I feel like the words would weigh much more, and the actions would just feel. I guess that's part of the sense of like the sabers feel a little weighted. Everything feels more weighted and slow and just, I guess, clunky. I mean, hell, in the editing bay, put it at 1.25 speed or something. Just give us just a little boost. Anything.
But even think about it. I'm sorry, I'm having a lot of thoughts as you say this time. Like,
please do. Yeah.
Think about like what you're saying with the weight. Like, it makes sense, especially for Balin as like this big knight, and he's the Dark Knight. But again, imagine if the shots had more dynamism. You could really like show how Ahsoka's light and fluid, and she's having to use both to like deflect and. Think like it just takes thought.
They had it there. The Balin and Ahsoka fight had the fluidity with Ahsoka, the weightedness with Balin, and I don't know. It's they have the Chirrut Imwe stuff, but they're also doing visions right now. It's not stuff that's not actively in Star Wars at this moment. Why is it just not being applied? I cut you off, Christian. Sorry, go. Okay, my bad. I thought I was cutting you off.
I was just chiming in. I was just like, yeah, I agree.
It's all actively part of Star Wars at the moment, so I don't get why we're not getting it, especially in like this penultimate episode.
Well, I don't know. I also thought the use of Ezra's force was also a little lackluster too. It's like, you're gonna tell me he uses both hands to push someone away, and the guy goes like 3 feet backwards.
Dude, it's crazy.
Knocks him on his ass 2 seconds later.
Hey, what are you talking about? And then Shin throws him back probably like 10 feet, and he gets lifted at least up like 4. It's just
dude, and he slams.
Yeah, like what?
Like I understand her being more prominent in like the Force in a fighting style right now, maybe, but Ezra's also been surviving on this planet for like 11 years now, almost.
Yeah, isn't he? He's literally like our age, right?
Yeah,
he was. I think he's older than that now, right? I think he's.
20, is he like a 30-year-old dude?
I think so. I think it's been 11 years technically.
How old was he in Rebels?
He was like
he was a kid.
18
he was
at the
kid,
end,
right?
17, 18 at the end, or 16, 17, 18 at the end. So he might be like 28-ish, 27-ish.
Okay, that makes sense.
All I know
the guy looks great. I like how he, like the progression feels good.
Him as Ezra is also fantastic. He feels like Ezra from Rebels, which makes me very happy.
I agree.
We can dive into this further because Ezra has a bunch of stuff to talk about. But I've grown to like Natasha Liu Bordizzo, I think is her name, as Sabine more. But this episode kind of regressed that a little bit for me.
Dude, her line delivery is so weak.
It was so weak, dude.
It's boring. And then Amanda Scondi is right next to her, just like bringing animation to life.
I agree.
You can't act. I don't know. It hurts me because she did actively say that she didn't watch like the last 2 seasons of Rebels before the show, and I'm just like,
she said that.
She did. I'm like, just like, do your homework. Because the proof's in the pudding. Look at Amanda Scondi. And just the heart and the soul. It's lacking right there. Just a tad.
That is
just upsetting.
A tad. I didn't know she said that.
But for the most part, I think she was getting better. I hope she ends it well. And it is hard to act along somebody that literally brings animation to life as well as Amanda Scondi was doing. So, you know. I mean, there is a caveat there, but I don't know if it's a good enough one, Look, but back to Ezra and the happy notes, I guess, because he is fantastic.
Oh, he's great, yeah. I don't remember his eyes being so blue in Rebels. Is that just me? Is that like a Mandela effect thing?
I don't remember him being that blue. My guess is they're making up for his hair not being that blue. I don't know.
I don't get what's going on with that, but whatever, man. Hey,
yeah.
I was gonna say something. This is like such a derailment too. This is like totally. I want to talk about Shin and Baylan.
Please.
Because they're so mysterious. They're not Sith. If you look at Shin, she still has the Padawan braid,
which I almost expected to get cut off. Like I expected Baylan to just go.
I don't understand. Yeah, like
I don't understand why he didn't either.
I wonder what their allegiance is, man. I because Baylan seems so conflicted. Like
I think the whole time, it felt obvious to me that they're dark Jedi as like a pretty clear like EU classification, and then again, but we still have never like had time for them to really explore it in the dialogue, like what is really going on. I don't know, maybe if that's perhaps it'd be too much exposition, but I think there needs to be a way to like, again, before we lose all our time with them, like have them go into what's and you don't have to call it motivation, just like give me more context in general.
Yeah.
At this point, like I know it's not feasible or possible, but just because of Ray Stevenson's death, can we get some deleted scenes? Can we get the director's cut of each episode or something? Like, please, like just like I understand keeping it kind of like bare bones and skeleton, kind of like just give us the meat, just give us the story and keep pushing kind of deal. But I want the context. Give me some context.
I agree. No, yeah. I mean, it'd be great.
Fill in some blanks for me, please. And I have been very defensive of it because I do love Dave Filoni's type of storytelling. I like the slow burn. I love how a lot of his seasons, like season 1 of Rebels, I remember I got Christian to watch it. He was like, when's it pick up, motherfucker? Like, when? Like, come on, And I was like, hold up. It'll get there. I promise.
It did. Oh, my God. It grabbed me by the throat.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But, dude, I rewatched the Death of Kanan scene like recently, and I was like, dude, this is fucking amazing.
Amazing, dude.
To watch.
It's heartbreaking.
It's so
heartbreaking.
good. But I think the best episode still, even with how heartbreaking it is still the Maul and Obi-Wan episode that season.
Oh yeah,
it's
classic.
It's perfect. That's like the epitome of Star Wars is that episode.
Oh my god,
dude, that and Anakin or Vader fighting Ahsoka is also peak.
Dude, fuck. Rebels was so much better than I ever
Some
thought.
peak moments.
I cannot believe I put it off for so long, dude.
But it's one of those things where like the animation looks weird. It was right as Disney bought it, and Clone Wars was canceled for Rebels to be put onto the screen. So people were like, well, now I'm not going to watch it. And rightfully so for a lot of ways. But like, hey, it's worth it. And I understand that first season is slow, but anybody that watches this, if you haven't seen Rebels, you know your homework now. You got it.
I haven't seen the bulk of it. I've really just watched like the peak episodes that my buddies have showed me. I'm not a fan of like the tone, but I love the story and the lore is great. I just think the style is not exactly for me.
The style's not my favorite.
But again, I don't call it bad. I just say it's not my product.
I think you'd like the tone more than you think, but the style
in the
is
later stuff,
fun.
yeah, probably.
Well, even if you watch season one, no matter what, the first time watching season one, you're gonna feel like it's really goofy. But if you watch it back again, it's like most Filoni things. You feel the depth. Like watching Clone Wars season 1 through 3, it's like it's still definitely goofier than everything else following.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh well, this sets up so freaking much. It's not even funny, you know.
Absolutely, it does.
It's because they only have 4 seasons. I feel like it does that very well within the first season. Like the whole Grand Inquisitor, that's all first season. It's a really dark season. It just feels goofy because they have to introduce this kid kind of deal, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know. Kids haven't been doing too well in Star Wars lately.
Yeah.
Do you remember how bad that Leia chase scene was in Obi-Wan? So off topic, but like, anyway.
No, I mean the chase scenes. It's correlative. It's odd because it's things that they've done so well before.
Yeah. I mean, look at what was his name? Jake Austin, young Anakin killed it.
Yeah. Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd. Thank you. Jake Austin. That's a different guy.
That's some Disney stuff. Yeah.
It's a very different guy.
Yeah. Some wizards are way really placed over here. Toss him in Star Wars. I don't know. Get some wizards up in here.
Well, there are now.
We got witches, that's for damn sure.
So what? Okay, here's my whole thing, man. About this is like such an ADD conversation if I've ever had one, but
hey, it's okay.
I love it.
I do too. The Night Sisters,
so creepy,
so fucking creepy. Like
eerie.
I love the way they did that because, like, in Clone Wars, man. Like Mother Talzin, like the whole like just perfectly encapsulated in this live actions. Like I love them. I want to see more of them. I want to see more about them on Peridia, like what they were doing there. Like
I want to know why they're scared to be on Peridia.
I've got my hopes.
Abeloth, but I don't.
Dude, thank you.
I can't see it happening. I want it so bad. I just can't see it happening, but
I need it. I need it.
It's been hinted at perfectly, but ooh. I'm sorry, I just looked in the comments. Is Claudia
I've been reading
Black,
them now.
Is that because she out of anybody to play?
I've been reading the comments just now. Yeah.
Who's Claudia Black?
Did you see? I don't know if you've ever seen Stargate as a whole. She's in the last couple seasons. She's in Farscape. She's in a bunch of different things you would recognize. Actually,
she's the main mother. She's one of the main mothers.
Let's see.
Is she really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's actually very pretty, but looks terrifying in Star Wars.
Yeah, no, she looks horrifying, like one I would really run away from.
But that's Claudia Black? Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was theorizing that she was about to be playing Abeloth or something.
Dude, what? Okay, so here's the thing, man.
Throw that out.
I've heard the Abeloth theories. I've read maybe she's coming. Maybe they're scared of her, but what do you... I don't think those odds are very high at all. I think that's just the pipe dream, a Star Wars fan's pipe dream.
That's where I'm with you.
This is how perhaps you could frame it that way. I would say I call it. It's what I would do.
Well, I totally agree with that. And
Filoni
has set it up where Abeloth would make sense with not necessarily Mortis, but Mortis is part of the world between worlds in some kind of way that we don't necessarily understand.
I mean,
we've seen more between world stuff.
That's true. There might be a little bit more.
Abeloth would make sense. It's just I just don't know if they're gonna go that far. World Between Worlds was far enough for like the average Joe. I think Anakin was the perfect way to like bridge the gap between that weirdness for the average viewer, I guess.
Yeah. What do you guys think they're transporting? Like out of the?
That's a great question.
It's got to be like. Do you think it's like Night Sister Corps?
Why would they need Night Sister corpses if they're on Peridia, which probably have millennia of Night Sister corpses?
I don't fucking know, dude. Take them back, raise an army.
My thought is, I don't know how they would have gotten his body, but would it be somebody like Maul? Would it be somebody that bridges the gap between witchcraft and the Force as they?
Because dude, he is a Dathomirian. He's literally Mother Talzin's son. Like
he's been kind of ooeyed gooeyed with all of the Night Sister magic before, like
dude, like a fucking zombified, not zombified, but sort of I don't know, dark magic.
Dark magic brought him back.
But wasn't he buried on Tatooine?
Oh,
did Obi-Wan bury him?
Yes, but
such a bro moment.
I'm not convinced that they couldn't find him again. And I don't know if that's reaching too far or not. That's also like a Star Wars person's pipe dream, but at the same time, the groundwork would be there.
I would say Maul also had a great ending, so I wouldn't necessarily want to see him brought back like that.
I think one of the best endings in the whole series.
Certainly.
Maybe the best. Like,
I agree. I mean, it wasn't what Lucas wanted for him originally. He wanted him to be the successor, but for what we got, that's the best he's got. Like, I think, honestly, they should let that sleeping dog rest.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
I agree, but I also just for the Lucas aspect of it, I wouldn't mind if they brought him back and then Darth Talon comes up somewhere and we get the actual sequels. We get the sequels we wanted like all along.
Because Darth Talon, bro, she could awaken Darth Krayt.
Please.
Yeah, but then what the hell is Snoke?
And then dude, if they've already written him off, fuck that. The Darth Plagueis stuff is over. We can't. The possibilities of that are done.
Dude, here's what they're doing now. They're trying to make the sequels make sense.
Of course, that's what I was gonna say about the clone bodies. Is they have to retcon Palpatine.
Yeah, and I don't know what the hell they're gonna do.
My choice would be some kind of Star Killer scenario.
Do you think they're gonna bring? Okay, let's pause the Star Killer thing.
Only because I would say it replaces Luke fighting the clone of himself in The Last Command.
Right. But, okay. I just don't ever see them bringing Star Killer.
Bro, Sam Witwer would do it.
He would do it
in a heartbeat.
He would do it, so why not? Just retcon Star Killer a little, and I think make it cooler because I never really bought what he was in the EU.
I mean, he was, dude, he was insane in the EU.
I liked the character, but I didn't like the plot of the games, is what I'm saying. So I would say, like, transliterate the character and be like, oh, he's a failed Palpatine clone. We used Luke's fucking hand or something to get a high midichlorian count. Infuse it into a body, something like that.
Some Hashirama's cells type bullshit.
Dude, but you could go wild. That's sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. It's Star Wars, too.
Seriously.
I mean, Maul came back. Yeah, like, for real. No, you're right.
On the Palpatine clone thought, because I like it. That's my favorite Star Killer, like, theory or process, like how he could be worked into it. I like that, hey, maybe just infuse, like, the DNA in another body or something like that. Like, I guess Palpatine does with Snoke, but...
And how Gideon's trying to do, I guess.
True, but you remember, even if we're going sequel, just putting things together, the person that was hired to play a younger version of Palpatine, who did very little bit, was Matt Smith.
Where is that footage, man?
Would you rather Matt Smith come back as Star Killer, or would you rather Sam Witwer? Because I love Sam Witwer, but I love me some Matt Smith. I think I still prefer. I'm pretty positive I prefer Sam Witwer at the end of the day, but like just Matt Smith's version of that, or some kind of take on a character.
That you could do it where Matt Smith is pure Palpatine DNA, and then
Ooh.
Starkiller is Luke's hand mixed with Palpatine.
Dog, I don't even know how the Imperials would procure Luke's hand.
Well, they did it in the old books, man. They got it from Bespin.
That's fair. I mean,
I have to reread the book. I don't fully remember.
I think in canon, that's what Palpatine uses to imbue Snoke with the Force or something like that, right?
I think so. And there's he has like a ring that comes from like a dark side relic that was in the Jedi temple. There's like little things like that, which I obviously think are retcons.
Yeah, and made us all think Plagueis, and then
because and my point from the time The Last Jedi came out, and we can talk about this because I think a power scaling is relevant to the new Filoni stuff. Because you have Grogu and all kinds of things. Because literally Snoke in The Last Jedi performs the craziest Force feats casually.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how could he not be Plagueis and then dead? But it's
dude, yeah.
Because he's like, bro, he's shooting lightning like it's just fucking nothing. He's lifting Rey across rooms just by his little finger barely moving. We have never seen that.
No.
He chokes Huxley over hologram.
Through hologram. I'm like, what?
That's the only person we've seen do that is like Vader and Palpatine.
Exactly.
Right.
So I really hope they don't. I mean, God, this is just this is going into now a rant about the sequels.
But I think it's logical of we need to have a context for what could be done. Because I think we're on some high level shit right now in terms of how deep you could justify different choices.
Yeah, and if anyone is to do it, it is Dave. And I feel like he's making it work to a degree already. I feel like we're, as an audience, capable of seeing where they want to go with it. There's just a lot of iffiness to cover, and it could go bad quickly and at any point, and we just don't want the train to derail. Currently, it's not a perfect journey, but so far so good generally. But to bridge the gap between the two, it could derail at any moment.
You know what?
That was a good line though. I did like that, and it was alluding to the sequels. Was, oh, the Emperor's dead. Well, that's what they say, you know.
Yeah, that's what they say. Okay.
I saw that and I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, I was like,
get out of here.
Which that didn't help it coming from Natasha Luberdizo, making me like her performance more for the episode. That line was just like, oh, you gave it to her, and oh, nope, now I'm a little just not tad salt. There's some salt in the air here.
She farted it out, man. She didn't say it, dude. She just. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's doing a great Sabine. It's just I feel like this kind of was a phoned-in episode on mostly everyone.
Besides, actually, I wouldn't say everyone. Honestly, it's so Sabine heavy that it feels like that. But everybody else did pretty well. Maybe a little.
I was loving Anthony Daniels in that bitch.
Okay. Everybody was phoned in on the other beginning part besides Anthony Daniels.
Oh yeah, that dialogue was really hitting me. Of dude, this is Dave. This is not well written, man.
No, it made sense.
Real basic,
out of the way, but it was a little too simple. And I liked. I didn't love necessarily C-3PO coming in and doing all that. It would have been nice to have Leia, but you just can't have. What'd you say?
Human side bulk relations. He reminds me of my grandmother.
I mean,
they walk the same. They're kind of slightly autistic. I love it. No, dude. Okay, I liked C-3PO. I liked it, but I think exactly that whole swoop in at the last minute, Saved by the Bell. That's such a trope. It's such an annoying ace in the hole that we see.
I literally was just gonna say that.
I like that they got it out of the way early in the episode instead of trying to place it somewhere else, kind of. Because
also that scene itself felt rushed.
That was 6 or 7 minutes. It felt rushed, and it was also 6 or 7 minutes at the same time. And I was like, okay,
that is weird,
dude. I think what it is the time length is fine, but it was all what you were talking about how it's like the Saved by the Bell thing instead of like picking up like they should have done a real like in medias res where it's like they're already heated about something. Like in like the dialogue, like the dialogue was super like it just covered the entire like Dave in his head was like, okay, I need them to say these things, let's just do it. But it's like, no, you need to like think about in real time where we're at. And then like you can be at the heated like end of the proceedings and still get necessary info. But he did like this like abridged entire meeting in like 20 lines of dialogue, and that doesn't feel real.
Exactly. Like I don't care if it's space in it, if it's space anything. Like even in like fancy parliament kind of stuff. Like even like in whenever it's kind of like, oh, we're gonna take our turn speaking in here. It's just not realistic at all. And for C-3PO to interrupt people like screaming over each other, like how it would feel like. I guess a military court-martial is what was going on. So it, or actually it wasn't though, because they were voting on a court-martial. So
yeah.
So that was not what this was. It should have felt more like a bunch of kind of senators yelling at each other kind of deal. No matter what country or anything. It was slow and it felt like everybody was taking turns. Like, oh, here's your talking stick. Here you go. Like,
dude,
simple.
Here's my whole thing with this. This is my beef with the senator who's the prick.
He's got to be Imperial.
Dude, he's got to be Imperial.
The Asian guy, like Zyather or whatever his name is.
Yeah, whatever his name is. That guy's. Oh, look, Sci-Fi Quest said that one guy on the council has to be an Imperial. He totally is, bro. But here's also my.
The dialogue's so on the nose, it's ridiculous.
It's so on the nose. And, okay, Hera, a general, a fleet commander, literally could be credited with getting rid of the final remnants of the Empire and the strongest arm of the Empire, besides, obviously, I don't know. She's has so many credits under her belt.
Battle of Jakku, like that was one of the final moments.
Exactly. She's done so much for the growth of the rebellion.
She technically got it together in Rebels.
That's what I'm saying. She could be credited with it.
All of them got like.
Yeah, exactly. And she has this feeling, this gut feeling. Hey, Thrawn's out there. I know it's crazy, but you know me. You know my track record. And they're all like, nah, good luck. Crazy, no. It's like she's one of the most reputable people in the Rebel Alliance right now. And they're just going to just like put her off to the side. You know what I'm saying?
It makes
just doesn't make sense to me.
Sense.
I don't know.
I agree. But we have our fourth person to come in. Howdy, my friend.
What's up?
How's it going?
Just going. We're going. So we've been all over the place. We've ADD'd literally every direction possible. So
yeah, please keep us in line. Be our verbal Adderall.
Give us the good, the bad, the ugly. What you loved, what you hated. If you hated, because there's some.
Well, it's all fresh in my head. I just finished watching it.
What did you think?
Tell us.
I jumped in. When I jumped in, I heard you guys talking about 3PO coming in and helping Hera on behalf of Leia. I'm like, you know what? That was great. I love how they tied it in. It's wonderful.
It was cute. It was cute.
It felt very like It just felt very like the original trilogy Star Wars-y kind of feel to it.
Well, that's because
having 3PO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just coming back in.
They also played Leia's theme.
That I liked.
That was super nice.
That went over my head. But yeah.
It was very nice.
Mm-hmm. What else? No. You're fine. What else have you guys been chatting about? What was your favorite part? I guess because
literally all of it. Just kidding. No. I think consensus wise, God, that was a bad. I couldn't get the word out there.
Wise, yes.
Consensus. There we go. English. I think I got it back. I'm here. Is Baylan and Shin. Baylan and Shin and Ahsoka are kind of the strong points of the episode. Yay, nay?
I'd also add again the principal scene with the Night Sisters, scanning with the triangle and like listening into her like force thing, I was like, bro, Dave is touching on the mysticism I really like.
I agree. Yeah. The second I saw the World Between Worlds, I was like, this is gonna be really a mystic series.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like them leaning into. And the bureaucracy aspect of things. You know?
A part that I particularly liked was the holograms of Anakin, of Hayden Christensen, you know, her training, and then like that's the significance of that last training message that he had for her. Like, wow, that really hits you. And then
it was nice.
Yeah,
it was really nice.
So smart to do it that way too.
And then it's like she's getting prepared, ready to fight Balin, and she's even smart about it too. She's not even, she's like, I don't have time for this. She just fights him real quick, gets some air support, and then takes his hyena thing and then leaves. So that was really clever. Very Jedi thing to do,
Very Jedi.
Very, and I love how she gets to say like he was a good master, and that shows you how good of a master Anakin actually was, and it was a way of allowing Hayden Christensen to come back and do this stuff without it feeling like, oh, we're just tossing them in here. It makes sense. It's logical. It adds to the story. It adds to like the character development of Ahsoka. That was just.
You know what I have noticed though? So after she left the Order in Clone Wars, anytime someone would call her a Jedi in Rebels or in Mandalorian, she's like, I'm not a Jedi. I left. But now, every time someone calls her that, she accepts the mantle. Like
except with Marok. She did say I'm not a Jedi that once in the series so far.
I want to talk about Marok in a second. But like I think it's interesting. Do you think that means that she's like kind of careening towards the path of the Jedi now, or it's just an oversight?
I think I think she realizes that she is the epitome of what a Jedi should be, but she has no desire to be one herself, and that is honestly part of why she works as a Jedi so well, is whether she wants to claim herself as one or not, she acts as one would. Literally, like I think better than Obi-Wan.
No, it's a good way to tie into Anakin's final lesson. It's like she has to fight. She's gonna have to fight with what she's been taught, and I'm like, she's been taught as a Jedi, and she's got to use her abilities in order to save her friends. So she's here training with Anakin, Anakin's hologram, and then it's even Thrawn's doing research on who trained her. Right? I feel like it's all based off of what she's learned from the Jedi, and she's applying it with Balin, and it shows.
Just thinking about her as a character right now, honestly, she feels, and I mean, it's Star Wars. It's poetry. It rhymes, as they say. It feels like she obviously was Anakin's Padawan, first and foremost. But Obi-Wan had a lot to do with her upbringing as well. She's kind of a collection of both of their teachings. And with that being the case, she feels very Qui-Gon Jinn. She feels like what Qui-Gon would have been like if we got to see him a little bit more.
Totally.
Totally. And I would love that. As like what a Jedi should be, but not necessarily what the Council would have been saying. Oh, let's go do this. Kind of like Qui-Gon was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna join the Council. I'm out of here." Kind of like Dooku, which I got a little soft spot for, but
here's okay. I want to touch Marok for a second.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to talk about Captain Enoch. I hope they don't do to Enoch what they did to Marok.
I hope to God.
It's like this mysterious, cool character that is like, oh, whoa, you're an Inquisitor. I thought they were all gone. What happened? Oh, wow, you're beastly. Like, you're crazy and menacing. And then boom, poof, Night Sister magic.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, that's it. And they don't touch back at all. I don't want that to happen. I thought we were going to see some crazy stuff happen with Marok. And then
we were thinking he might be frickin'
Merrick for a second.
Galen Merrick or a number of other little different things.
Galen Merrick? Who's Galen Merrick?
Star Killer.
Yeah, Star Killer.
Okay.
I mean, it was just like a crazy out there reach of a rumor, but
I wanted that as a possibility too.
Every Star Wars fan, it's like, you know what? It's like a conspiracy theorist, right? But for Star Wars.
yeah.
Everything is true until it's proven not
Everything.
true, right?
Exactly.
Everything is possible.
Yeah,
guys.
Enoch is
which
Maul,
we touched on with some Abeloth earlier.
Hey, it's like if he never gets revealed, everyone's like, it was totally him. No, it was
totally him. No, you can tell by the sassy.
No, before everything airs, everyone's like, that's totally him. That's Star Killer. That's Star Killer.
Boom. Oh, that's totally.
And then when it comes out here, it's like, oh well, that makes sense because.
I think one of the good things for Enoch that might keep him safe, fingers crossed, is that we know Wes Chatham is playing him, and so far all we've got is a robotic voice and haven't seen that like actual face yet.
Yeah.
And you don't hire an actor like Wes Chatham. He's not like the biggest guy in the world, but he was one of the main 4 members of The Expanse, possibly the greatest sci-fi series ever made, for 6 years. So you don't hire somebody for that not to show them, you know, like and it's not like Pedro Pascal kind of way because he's using a robotic voice. So
they did that with Gwendolyn Christie as Captain Phasma, and then they fucking.
He feels Phasma-esque, but I don't know if they're gonna do that again. That's I would hope not. I would hope not. But also just thinking like that though, and tying it back into the Night Sister stuff. One of the theories that was true until it wasn't that we just got was all the night troopers were dead. That they were I've heard
about that. Well, you look at them, they're covered in red.
They all died.
That's true. They're covered in red. I don't know.
I mean, they seem like they'd be some like Night Sister put together, like, oh, okay, because usually Thrawn would be the kind of guy to say, keep your uniforms clean. I want you to be completely in order. No. They're repairing it with. I mean, Enoch's face is gold. That's not something that usually
that's a tie-in to what's it? It's a Japanese art which goes into the theme of Thrawn.
I was just thinking repair. It was some intimidation tactic. I'm like, dude, paint your face this way. That no one's gonna fuck with you, man. No one's gonna.
No, it's no. Okay, so it's super cool. It's called kintsugi.
Yes.
So it is the art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold, which is a metaphor for embracing your flaws and imperfections. And it ties in perfectly to Thrawn, such an art freak. And it goes perfectly with putting back together the broken pieces of the Empire and all that shit. But who are they? Because I know that those stormtroopers. I don't know, man. I just there's so much more to be gone over, and we have 1 episode left, and I'm worried that they're not gonna be able to finish it off. It might be a part 1, part 2 kind of thing, like Brad was saying, but
I better see a 2-hour finale or 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
37 minutes.
You better cram in a lot in the next hour or so.
37 minutes for your penultimate episode, and that 37 minutes is including credits. We need a little something.
No, you can't. That can't be next week.
No, that's what we got for this week because of the penultimate episode.
No, this week was short.
Dude, if next week was that, I was about to be like, you can't be serious.
No. Because that's what Nick was saying. I'm hoping it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Because
when Mando pulled that shit, I was like, come on.
Yeah,
it was sad.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
It was underwhelming this week.
The finale of The Mandalorian, I was kind of satisfied with. I was happy, but the thing is, the episode before that set up everything for the finale. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that energy as I did coming into this last episode. You know what I'm talking about? I don't have the same energy as I did in Mando.
No, we were saying that it doesn't feel like a finale, or it doesn't feel like the setup right before finale.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was like one of the first things we said.
The Mandalorian had a really good setup. You see Moff. I mean, we have Thrawn.
Yep.
We had Moff Gideon talking about Thrawn, but that was I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
It feels like all of these seasons of these different shows have led up to this moment, and the moment is here, and now it's not. It's it's not that it's not hitting. It's just that it's not. Now that we're here and almost there, we've lost sight of where it is. If that makes sense, it's like we've been aimed in the entire time, and then someone sneezed or something, and then the spotter never found their spot again, kind of deal.
Or you just held down on R3 too long, and then like the scope like started.
There you go.
Yeah, the breath. You let out the breath.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what
man.
it's like.
Dude, Nick is right. It better be a 2.5 hour finale.
Well, think about where we just left off. Everyone's reunited. It feels like a little the Trinity back together. We have Ahsoka, we got Sabine, we got Ezra. In a parallel to Han, Leia, and Luke kind of thing. You know, we got like a little reunite. Yeah, kind of thing. And then we have Thrawn getting ready to leave. So that's what we have to work with. What do you think is going to happen?
It feels really Rebels in that way.
Oh, I lost my train of thought immediately. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, it's all about him trying to leave, right? It's all about him escaping. Do you think the finale is going to be revolved around him just trying to leave and he never makes it, or he actually makes it out and there's a finale in a new location? Which is what there's going to be.
There's going to be a fat cliffhanger. There's going to be like, what? Did they do it?
You think it's going to be a cliffhanger?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what we were saying. Like it could end with the jump away from the planet.
Man,
like to go back to like Star Wars. To go back to Star Wars proper, you know?
Star Wars proper.
Yeah, to go back to like the other galaxy.
Yeah.
You remember how
exactly.
That where Mando just shows up like in that it's like that one Mando episode in Boba Fett. Mando's just gonna show up in the end, and it's just gonna be a random ass Mando episode.
And then it just becomes
he's just gonna hop on.
And it'll be the best episode of the entire season too, just like out of freaking nowhere.
Right.
Be great.
I mean,
no, he's gonna show up.
Take place after season 3 Mando?
I'm not sure.
I think it takes place simultaneously. There's a little.
Okay.
It's always theory until, like you said, it's always theory until it happens, you know.
Right.
But people have suggested at least, and I kind of like the idea at least. It's kind of dumb, but you know, everyone likes to connect all the Star Wars galaxy. It's a big place, but things happen close together. That Grogu in season 3 seeing the Purgle out the window might have been the Purgle that Ahsoka was in going to the galaxy.
Huh.
Kind of like the idea, but it's also like, okay, how big is the galaxy kind of deal? But also, you know,
every rumor is a stretch.
Exactly. It's just like, do you choose it to be headcanon or not? So,
yeah.
But that would time up timeline, I guess, at least for me. That's why I kind of like it. But besides,
I always assumed it was after. Like this is the most current like timeline. Like this is the most imminent of what's happening.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I had a theory last episode that someone would die this episode, and and I was clearly wrong because no one did. But we're going to the finale. I'm gonna ask you guys the same question. Do you think someone will die in this next episode, and who?
Okay, that's a great question.
I would have totally agreed with you that it was going to either happen this episode and like make somebody go off the rails next episode, or have it happen next episode.
For a split second, I thought it was going to be Shin.
I thought so for a second too.
I thought she was kind of scared to go back to Baylan for a second and just kind of do like.
I thought Ahsoka was about to slash her down, like,
you know, kind of thing. I don't know, but
what is Baylan looking for? It might be him.
Abeloth.
I mean, honestly, if I think anyone's gonna die, I think it could be Ezra, bro.
Yeah.
I know they're not gonna do Ahsoka like this. They're not gonna end Ahsoka in Ahsoka. But
they needed season 2. So
well, they already did. They brought it back at least, thankfully. But
exactly, I think there might be some big comeuppance, and we might lose Ezra.
Baylan, you don't spend the time that you spent. That would kill Star Wars as a franchise to spend the time they have leading up to Ezra to give 2 episodes and then have him die on the 3rd.
We thought literally every one of the sequels because this is going to kill the franchise. But here we are,
I mean that's true, but the TV's been leading to something, and that's something.
Fair.
Half of it's Thrawn. Like that's the big thing, but half of Thrawn is Ezra. The only reason Thrawn is out there is because of it. Like, and at this point, Filoni's the creative director.
Or like on parallels. I feel like if you can't have one without the other kind of thing.
No,
Yeah,
we see the takes. So what?
Think Hera might die?
That I think is a higher possibility. I think Hera's the only one that might actually die because it gives credence to where Jason goes as a character, and because Dave Filoni has literally said Jason Syndulla is given the namesake of Jacen for Jason Solo. Like,
yeah,
it gives credence to him turning dark over time as well. And we already have his Force.
That'd be sick if he was one of the Knights of Ren. That'd be hype,
dude, bro. I want them to.
Did you say that, or did Nick say that? Somebody said that before.
Whoever did, bravo! Like, it'd be great.
It might have been you. I don't know.
Said what? I didn't say
about the Knights of Ren.
No, yeah, about something about Jason. Yeah, something about Jason. Who said that? I don't know. Maybe
we had a good conversation about Jason, but.
Not this. I mean, I talked about Jason last episode, but not yet. But I'll take the credit.
Yeah, I'll take the credit too. We'll both.
I don't know who it was. Maybe I'm making it up. I don't know, but I think that'd be awesome.
I totally said it though, man.
I said it.
I think it was me actually. Now that I think about it.
Wait. No, I remember saying that.
Actually, no, I think I remember saying that.
No, actually, we both said that. Really.
I think we both said that.
You know.
I think the chat said it honestly.
We all said it.
I think we all collectively just had the same thought.
I think, yeah. Wow. Is that
it was
Force?
Like one of those Star Wars telekinetic moments.
One in the Force.
Telekinesis moments.
Dude, I want them. So wait, okay, here's my question. How many years after the original trilogy does the sequels take place? Luke's like 50 in The Last Jedi, right?
It's like 30 years or something.
30 years? Okay.
Isn't it? No. It's 23 between
the Force Awakens,
Revenge, and it's 18 between, I guess, like New Hope and Revenge of the Sith, and 23 by the end. I think it is like 28 or 29, right, for the second one.
Well, because Battle of Yavin, which is A New Hope, is 19 BBY, and then And so therefore, I don't know, around the beginning of the sequels is 30 years after that. So it's like 50 something BBY is what I assumed.
That would make sense.
I don't know. But this would be because, isn't it like, I thought it was like between Empire and A New Hope is like 2 years. Between Return and Empire is another 3 years. And then this would be how many years after Return?
The epilogue of Rebels happened 6. Oh, okay. So this did replace the epilogue. So it's not 11 years after, because I was thinking it was 5 years after the epilogue, which would have been 6 years after Return of the Jedi. So this is technically 6 years after. So Ezra, Ezra's probably like 25. He's literally all of our age. 25, 26.
I was going to say like 5 to 10 years.
Dude.
Past it.
So...
how many years after Battle of Endor?
Extra Jedi? I'm just saying.
Sorry, my concept of Star Wars time, it's happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I can't remember every catalog of when it happened. 20 years.
Sorry.
Years. The kid is like.
I remember some of the years. Like, there's certain events that I try to remember. Like,
Jason, how old are you?
Like the Sith didn't start until like 6900 BBY.
ABY.
See,
right?
I just remember in terms of before and after.
BBY, because before Battle Yavin, ABY after Battle Yavin.
So like the Sith are like 7,000 years old. The Jedi are like 10,000 years old. It's stuff like that.
But are you talking about the Sith species now? Or are you talking
about the order. The order.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
So I try to time some things like that, and then you have like Darth Bane, and the rule of 2 is 1,000 years BBY.
Yeah.
So I try to keep vague, like, checkpoints basically.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Give me like a time chart of everything that's happened. I'm a visual kind of guy, especially with numbers, So if we can get a timeline from Knights of the Old Republic all the way up to now, and see how long that'll take. How long do you think it'll take you to make? Like that?
recounting every book and like every event.
Every book.
Oh my god,
that'd be huge. That would be massive.
it's like 20.
Have you seen? Have you seen that meme with Charlie Day where he's connecting all the red dots?
Of course,
yeah, the Pepe Sylvia. Yeah,
I want Brad to just do that with all the Star Wars things.
The entire timeline.
This is what happens in Night of the Old Republic.
Okay, give me the year. Here it is.
This is how he could have showed up here.
No, it's I do one of like the creationist like maps where it's like the creation of Adam all the way to here, and it's like the 6,000 years.
Yes.
Like that's what it is. I do one of those.
How you're connected to Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
A little off topic for Ahsoka, kind of maybe. World Between Worlds stuff always can make things interesting.
Well, then, yeah. How does time work with that shit? Who knows?
Exactly, but hopefully they don't include it, I guess. But did y'all see this past week? David S. Goyer was talking about Foundation, which The Expanse may be the best sci-fi series ever, but Foundation's quickly coming up. It's getting there. Little Isaac Asimov's always great. Anyway, it's
low key. My favorite is probably Warhammer.
Well, they were playing Warhammer literally. That Thrawn was playing Warhammer
sick.
with Morgan Elsbeth. Like that.
Oh, that's based.
It was pretty great. That it felt like they were just playing it.
Sorry to interrupt. You go.
No, you're good. You're good. What was I saying real quick though? Because
the best of the sci-fi.
Foundation. David S. Goyer.
Foundation.
David S. Goyer.
Right.
Y'all know. I mean, obviously James Mangold just got tapped to write the first Origin of the Jedi kind of story, and that kind of like. But he's not technically writing it because there is a script to some degree already there because David S. Goyer has written one that Guillermo del Toro was tapped to direct.
Dude,
did you see that? We were going to get a David S. Goyer script with Guillermo del Toro. It could have been the Star Wars film. Bro,
if Goyer applied what he did for the Krypton prologue for Man of Steel to the Jedi Order, I would be blown away.
Goyer's
with Mangold's visuals, dude. Come on.
Well, it was going to be Goyer and Del Toro.
Well, that I know, but now if I didn't know that Mangold was like taking a crack at making another draft of that script, but that's cool.
Well, I don't know if it's the same script. That at least shows that Disney's been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of honestly, that gives me hope because it shows they've actually planned something out somewhere.
Well, I hope because they in like 2014 they rejected what turned into Rebel Moon. Which I really have loved to see if Zach actually got to do a Star Wars project as well.
Yeah, I know you love Zach, but I'm happy that turned out the way it did. I'm excited for Rebel Moon.
Because they went towards cash grabs instead of like they could have done something in a different era, and I'm just disappointed that we didn't get his visual style in like an Old Republic era, perhaps. Like that would have been awesome.
Something with heart and soul would have been nice instead of a little grabbing for some cash. But,
right, because he was like, dude, I want just an original thing, which is I hope what Goyer was trying to write as well.
I don't know if
because again he wrote Man of Steel, so like I want to see how that would have turned out.
I would have loved to have seen that movie. I hope it turns into something. And hell, who knows? Maybe Peridia and some of this Beyond stuff. I mean, Galaxy Far Far Away is how Episode 6 started. With Hu Yang saying that, so could the Mangold stuff correlate to the new movie coming up with the Ahsoka stuff? Could that all this kind of tie in and still be that kind of like cyclical Star Wars that we're used to? Maybe
if they had the integrity, like they would be putting the thought into it.
I want to see just that intro of that moment between Ahsoka and Hu Yang, where he's saying that line, and then it goes into the new show or whatever it is, like Skeleton. What is it called? Skeleton Squad?
Skeleton Crew?
Skeleton Crew, sorry. Skeleton Crew, when that comes out. I heard the writer strike, it's off topic, but the writer strike, they just came to an agreement, right?
Yeah, sir. To an agree. They're voting on it.
To an agree, and it's coming to an end soon. So for an
exceptional offer is what is said.
Yes. Fingers
so they're happy.
For those of you looking for an update, yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yes. So back to the theory, just real quick. If Hera does end up, being the person who gets killed off in the show, what happens to Jason? I think it would be kind of ridiculous, but it makes the most sense if he goes with Luke to the new school. And he could tie into that Knights of Ren theory of him being an.
The only other way I think they could take it, because it would make more sense for him to probably become a Knight of Ren, be friends with Ben Solo, go into Luke's school, all that kind of stuff. That makes sense if they keep it within, I guess, the known universe.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're wondering where I guess we're going to end up after this next episode. Who's going to be where? Are people going to be stranded? Like, we don't go explore this new universe just to go right back to the known universe, right? Like, something.
I feel that.
And Balin's literally here searching for something. What is that something, and why are we going to stay here, and why is this area important in general? And if
Vong bros,
dude, if the Vong come out, that'd be insane.
Either Vong, Ricotta, or Abeloth, I'm going to freak out.
Even just setting it up. You don't have to show anything. Just give me hints.
Give me something good.
I don't want to be edged that hard.
Dave Filoni could do it.
He loves it
too. He loves it, dude.
Well, y'all know they have the animatics for the Yuuzhan Vong episode of Clone Wars that he scrapped.
What?
Yeah,
what?
They have animatics.
What are you
talking about? They have a lot of animatics.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
They have a lot of animatics like that were scrapped episodes of Clone Wars that they didn't fully animate, so they were like
with the
not half-assed animations, but just kind of like
right. Like the visual layout format, it was kind of there.
Visual storyboards in a way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And just the little bit that is there just could have been so freaking cool. And I understand it's not necessarily Disney canon. I like the Grisk. They're not as cool as the Vong. I like the Grisk. The Grisk. I think it's the Grisk.
What are those?
And I understand they're part of it's Disney's new version of Thrawn in their Aftermath trilogy. Timothy Zahn, if I can say a name, did write it, and he actually put it out there. So it is like Zahn inspired, and it is still good. It just ain't the Yuuzhan Vong, and I'd much prefer the Yuuzhan Vong.
Yeah, of course. I mean, dude, I think it's one of the sickest concepts. They're so awesome. Like Nama Noor is, dude, what a villain.
If we got like Vergier and different characters like that, it would be perfect. I mean, y'all know Vergier, Palpatine's original apprentice? Like it would have been.
I don't know about him. No.
It was this weird alien bird lady essentially, and she ends up just being like an evil monk that helps the Yuuzhan Vong. She acts like a scout for the Yuuzhan Vong and tells them how people act and treat each other in the known galaxy, and kind of is like betraying everybody else. Really, it's interesting,
dude. Even more so, that's just more reason to have it connect to original trilogy concepts and like prequel concepts. Like, why not?
It all ties together.
And in the sequels, you could use as another thing of like, yeah, she was out there working for Palpatine, like trying to find some other like power. I don't know. It's so obvious.
The only thing I think that keeps them from doing some of these things, not the only thing, but one of the primary things is licensings, and they just don't want to pay like the old book licenses for the characters and things like that. But also,
they own it all. Would that even be a thing?
For the books and stuff, yes. For characters that I guess Disney didn't directly acquire, like there's like a certain like big name characters that they like have free reign of, and then everybody else is like if it wasn't a Lucas made character, so if it's like a character from any of like sequel novels.
Oh, I see what you mean, because they're individual authors.
Yeah. I think that's the differentiation point there.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's annoying as fuck, but dude, you're Disney. Just pay for it.
Yeah, at the same time.
Right.
Come on.
But and to be topical, they don't give a fuck about paying like creators, honestly.
At the same time, that's part of why frickin' Iger's been one of the people that's been sitting down for the last 5 days. He's like, all right, I got to pay people now. Like, here we go. So, yeah. Yeah, Disney would own most side canon book rights. So everything that all new characters from Disney canon books, they have complete rights to. But anybody that was, I used the term earlier, now I can't even think of it. But any tie-in novels, tie-in media, tie-in anything like that wasn't like directly Lucas created, Disney has to pay a little extra for, which is why they're hesitant to bring in some of these characters. But like Cobb Vanth, Cad Bane, people like that, they have to pay a little extra for. But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
That's why
give us some goodness.
so fucking fast.
You know, like we need some Timothy Oliphant. Like I know Book of Boba Fett wasn't great, but we
that
need to
scene
see
is awesome.
Anything Cobb Vanth would do.
That scene was insane. I just watched that scene the other day. Like,
yeah, me too. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, I can't believe this is real.
Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
so
a good
cool.
freaking.
And that's good dialogue too. That shows you that like
dialogue, dude.
They can do it. So why is some of this dialogue a little cheap? Like, let's give us a little something more. Just a little something more.
It's up and down. It's not consistent,
and it's throwing me off.
Have you guys seen the first interaction between Boba Fett and Cad Bane?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It wasn't the full like rendition of it or whatever. It was just like It wasn't like, I don't know what it didn't actually make the Clone Wars cut, but it was supposed to be in Clone Wars. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, where he makes the dent.
Where they actually makes the dent. Yeah, it makes the dent in his helmet, and then that's why Cad Bane has that metal plate on his head now.
Yeah.
At the end of it. I don't know if you knew that part of it, but that's really cool. I just
that was one of those animatics. They have the animatics for it, but not the actual episode.
Yes, the animatics.
There are a couple extra Bad Batch episodes.
I'm gonna look up on that.
Or Bad Batch, I guess, Clone Wars episodes. There's a bunch of good stuff.
There was that Clone Wars one with Echo, and they actually just made it. I saw the animated version of it.
I like that they're able to put some of that stuff in Bad Batch because Bad Batch is getting really good, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But
dude, Bad Batch is beautiful. That show is great. So visually striking.
Like
I love that show. Oh my god,
I do too. But it also is like, like you said, Brad. Like, if we could have had Rebels looking like Bad Batch, which
right
on the table, it was completely on the table. Do you know? There'd be so many more eyeballs on it, and Ahsoka would be a whole different thing. I think right now, but not.
And I think I think the tone would be different from the start.
There'd be a little more gravitas, I guess, early on. I guess I'm not entirely sure, but it would be great. I love Bad Batch, but one of the animatics that I think would be really great that would be fun to see fully animated would be the Son of Dathomir entire like storyline, where Maul, Dooku, Grievous all kind of together. They're imprisoned together at a certain point, or Maul imprisons them and tries to convince them to take on Palpatine with him and Savage Opress. And it just Dooku has to like Grievous is working for Dooku obviously, and they have to like escape the clutches of them all, but kind of have to team up at a certain point, almost like Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin did at that point. And it's some great story, and I'm missing it. Like, give us this, Disney. I don't. I'd like to see it in a Tales of like the Sith if they ever do that, like instead of Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That'd be
nice.
Cool. Tales of the Sith.
Okay, hear me out. Just because I think I would love more Tales of the Jedi shorts, I just don't think you can have Tales of the Jedi going on at the same time if you do this in live action. But now that they've done it, now that they've done live action Clone Wars characters and stuff like that, would you rather Tales of the Jedi continue in live action, or would you rather it stay animated?
Stay animated.
I'm kind of with you.
Yeah. I just feel like kind of goes into what we were talking about when we first started chatting. It's like how the lightsaber movements were a little bit clunky, how the choreography and the camera angles are just kind of a little lackluster with this Ahsoka and frankly a lot of other stuff that's been coming out of the live action stuff lately. I just feel like with that animation.
Hold on real quick. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback from your mic, man.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, but you're a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, every time you speak into your mic, it's a little. There's like some reverb or something. I don't know what it is.
I have a fan on. Is that it?
Maybe.
It might
Did you just turn the fan off?
I just turned it off. Yeah.
Oh no, it's not the fan then.
Fuck.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. It was so good for literally an hour and like 20, 25
Great up
Man.
until. That's kind of funny though.
You started talking about like lightsaber movement, and it kind of sounded like
My
you were
lightsaber.
lightsaber, if that makes sense.
How about I try this?
There's
Sounds
some
like
clong-
Enoch.
There's some clong feedback down there, Christian. Wait, what's your thing?
I can't understand the thing he's saying.
Hello.
I mean, we know you're saying hello, but it just sounds.
Check.
Well, no,
Check.
press buttons before the next check.
I don't know what buttons the fucking press, my man.
All right. Does anybody know
What if I did it?
ASL? And
What if I
Christian, do you
did
know ASL?
How about that? I just turned down the volume.
The American Sign Language or whatever? I'm not that fancy. I don't know it.
I don't know, man.
Did he mute himself?
Somehow your fault.
Okay. Well,
Wait, hold on. Speak.
Hello.
Say something.
oh,
Clear as day. What was that? I don't know what's going on.
That was
Fine
the
now.
weirdest shit ever.
That's weird. I unplugged my headphones and put it back in there.
It was
Oh, wow.
probably like loose in the port or something. I
Night
don't
Sister
know.
Magic,
Yeah.
something. I don't know. You know,
That
Thrawn's
I
plotting
think-
against you. Time's
Hello?
against you, Christian. Watch out.
Is this good? I'm
That's-
actually gonna
that's
put
beautiful.
that
That's
way
great.
back down.
Honestly,
No. Go right back into it and give us
you
some
can do some
ASMR.
ASMR. I was gonna say. I was like, God damn, right in my ear too. Like, I got
Give
the
us
headphones.
that soothing
All
subtlety.
right. Here's a lightsaber ASMR. You guys ready?
I'm gonna close my eyes. Go.
Whoa. Are you hard?
Oh, very.
Are you hard yet?
Yep. I am.
The lightsaber's not asking if you're hard. That's me asking.
Oh,
Either way, the answer was yeah. But you know,
All right, I sound good now. Cool.
yeah. No, you're great.
perfect.
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 I think all of that stuff needs to be animated if they ever do a Tales of anything.
I'm with you, but also I would like for them. I guess flashbacks is still a good way to, or flashbacks. If World Between World, they're brought back to that. I guess that's a decent way to do that kind of Clone Wars stuff. And it's not necessarily necessary to do it either, but it just, it feels so good. It's so nice. I love those scenes.
Oh, sorry. It's a little hot in my studio right now.
Well, probably you're in Austin, Texas, wearing a hoodie at the end of August or September, whatever month we're in.
Okay.
It's September, a couple away from October, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, we are in fall, so you do have an excuse.
No, I don't.
Sounded like my nephew's busted ass cheap lightsaber.
It's
Sorry, buddy. The ASMR
80
didn't
right
work.
now. Oh, it didn't?
Ooh.
Hello?
No,
sorry,
you're good. You're
Alright.
good. You just
Oh.
sounded like a busted ass cheap lightsaber, apparently.
You were saying
We
your
thought it
ASMR.
sounded good, but you know, these things happen.
Yeah.
What I guess obviously Abeloth is what we're thinking, but where the hell's Balin going? I don't know. I was trying to
Where is he going? He's I don't know. He's
because he literally
said-
dropped
He's talking
Shinnok.
about a new empire.
Yeah, but
Groveling about a new empire, right?
if Thrawn's running away from everything going on, if these Night Sisters are running away, why does Balin immediately think he's going to have like a empire level type power when he's completely going into the unknown? I guess, and he's very confident in doing it, and even confident enough to literally let his Padawan be like, "Well, if you die, you die. Like, see ya. Like, you're no longer mine to deal with."
He's literally a mercenary type mindset. He
Is
doesn't
he,
want
though?
to. Yeah, he says he doesn't want to repeat the same cycle as like the Emperor or the New Republic, where it's such a power struggle or a power control.
But
He
wouldn't a
just said-
mercenary just take pay from both those sides and not really care? Like, I feel
No,
like
I feel
there's
like
something more to him.
He's got other stuff on his agenda dealing with higher power that doesn't involve losing it. I feel like Thrawn's over here trying to regain the power that he's lost by trying to take over now that the Emperor's gone, right? He's got these Night Sisters, he's got all these forces and stuff. This dude, he's like, I'll help you because it's going to help me get more power that you don't even know about, kind of thing. And then I'm going to get away scot-free or something like that. I mean, I don't know what else he's going to do, but I feel like he's going to reach for some other higher power, and Ahsoka's going to have to stop him. Or maybe there's a cliffhanger there where Baylan actually gets away, and we are left with some other Knights of the Old Republic references at the end to set up for Ahsoka. But that also doesn't make sense because the actor died.
Well, I mean,
Dude,
they still filmed everything, though.
There's the rub. I think whatever they do with Baylan, they got to wrap it up. Or
I don't
they
think so.
find a new actor. I mean,
yeah, I'm with Brad. I think the character has to just continue like that. You know, the character's been given the best, maybe out of anybody in this series so far.
Or I got a good idea.
Okay, sure.
He finds a higher power, which is a person, possibly from the Knights of the Old Republic, and that person kills them after being freed.
Vitiate.
I'm just saying, like, it could be.
Vitiate would be freaking cool too, though.
That would be kind of cool, and then that sets you up like, oh my god, this guy easily killed Baylan. Or girl, I don't know, guys.
Could it be that Vitiate is the person that like tells Palpatine how to return himself or something? Because Vitiate, lived for like 1,000 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah, guys, it's a good theory.
Revan.
I
don't think he's still kicking, but
yeah, I don't think Revan's up there.
It'd be
remember cool what Thrawn says.
Somebody.
Remember
what does Thrawn say? What does Thrawn say?
Jedi have a knack for seeming like they're dead, but they get out of it. Like he says that when he talk about Ahsoka possibly being alive.
True. And
right,
fucking Kanan and fucking Ezra. Excuse my
people are never truly dead. Okay, World Between Worlds. Come on.
Unless
we're talking Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon. He got an unlucky stab through the chest. Okay.
He got like super deaded.
Just right quick. Just.
But that's a good theory. What if someone's calling to him, and what if that someone is?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I got all you're thinking now,
dude. If they canonize Vitiate and like, holy shit, that would be
great.
Well, insane. Dude, think about it. Vitiate as Valkorion had the two sons that were white and black, like Shin and Baylan.
Yeah.
That's true. Or I mean, now even more so, like Ahsoka and Baylan.
Right. Yeah. Also.
Dude, fuck. Dope. That's crazy.
So okay, there was concept art that was released, or it was literally, I guess it's not popping up after the episodes because there is the outro kind of art that they have, but they released the concept art from episode 1. That temple that Ahsoka goes up to that we start the series off, where she's playing around and moving everything, not playing around, but getting into the temple, doing some Indiana Jones, and she's the columns that she's around, they have ancient like Zepho stuff on there from Jedi.
I heard that. I saw that too. Yeah.
So maybe it's not Rakata, maybe it's not Vitiate, maybe it's not Vong, maybe it's some Zepho stuff. Like, I mean, they have their weird sages and stuff, right?
Yeah, I actually saw a little video essay on how it could be the Zepho too.
Yeah, I saw one and I liked
the one who went to the dark side.
Yeah.
And they were also into intergalactic travel as well, weren't they? Like, that'd be really cool too.
It makes sense. I guess it ties into certain stuff.
Should I get Jedi Survivor? I haven't bought it yet. I haven't played it yet.
I have.
You should totally get it. I think it's probably the second.
Yeah, see, I don't know about this stuff because I haven't played the games either.
See, I played the first one.
I'll stream it if you want to watch, bro.
I need to look it up on PlayStation.
See, it's like $70 for Survivor.
Yeah,
so, but it's $5 to subscribe. Okay, that goes for everyone. Okay, I'll give you a discount.
I'll give you this again. I just the one of the, I think the things that adds credence to the Zepho theory, I guess, that makes it more than just because it's a theory until it doesn't happen. As always, I do like that. I'm stealing that, Nick. I'm saying that all the time now, because it's perfect. It epitomizes it, But I think something that adds credence to the Zepho theory or idea is Stig Asmussen, the guy that directed both of the Jedi games, Fallen Order and Survivor, just got or resigned from EA for creative differences for the future of Fallen Order, Jedi, and in all those games,
Right.
the third game, and etc. Cameron Monaghan's already said, like,
No
we're
way.
still doing it. We're still doing it.
Yeah.
But if the creative direction had changed and there was concept art 7 weeks ago for something they filmed 2 years ago, or I guess a year and a half ago, is that creative change something that he wasn't comfortable with because they're adding maybe Cal Kestis will pop up in something somewhere down the line. I'm not saying it happens now or anything, but is including the Zepho something he wasn't ready for elsewhere, and maybe all that correlating into his games was something that might have been the reason to leave or resign or get asked to resign. That's a whole different topic, but I think it gives credence at least to the Zepho being in Ahsoka, if that makes sense. Possibly.
And what are they in relation to the Vong or the Chiss or other like extragalactic societies?
They are like the definition of ancient, I guess, but like we were kind of theorizing, it would be nice to have a timeline somewhere. We need you to Charlie Day in it for us, Brad. Come on.
I'm waiting for it.
Well, give me an idea, like because like the earliest recorded shit in our galaxy
All of
is
it.
like
Brad.
25,000, 30,000 years, as far as I know. That's the earliest that I like am aware of.
Because they are, I believe they're either.
And these are like the Dark Horse comics, like touching on the earliest stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, I don't remember exactly. That's why I'm kind of hesitant, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm either thinking they overlap partially or a good chunk of the time with the Rakatan Empire. So like as the beings of what we know in our universe are being made and put together.
Yeah.
They're one of the first species to, I guess, put hyper travel together, hyperspace travel and all this kind of stuff. So they're either predating Rakatan, so they're really, really old, or they're like old as hell with Rakatan, I guess.
That's sick. Okay.
Overlapping to a degree. So they're in that
yeah,
kind
they're
of
like ancient.
And they're Force users as well, some of them. And they had like sage-like people, which is one of the theories that, maybe the sage that kind of was the reason the Empire, or their Empire fell at the time, left, and they all kind of went off into a different galaxy. Maybe this was that. And maybe we're catching up. Which would be kind of wild that Jedi Fallen Order is one of like the heaviest things to tie into Ahsoka, if that were the case. Obviously, that's like if that's the case,
really
but it would
sick.
make it would almost make more sense than Abeloth, even though they've tied in like the World Between Worlds and the Mortis aspect of things. It would still make more sense than that, which is kind of wild, and I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind,
dude.
it.
Either one, like, just give me something good. Whereas the Last Jedi, like from Force Awakens, could have done anything, did nothing. They can do anything right now. Please do something.
So,
yes.
I mean, they're bringing a lot of characters back. I mean, you could just bring two, of each. I'm just saying, like, you could find Cal Kestis at the end of this. You could find a really, really bad guy at the end of this. From Knights. I'm just saying, like, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and I believe I saw something about it in the comics, and Harris, you said it too. The original like Ren person, like he faced off against like Vader himself, so he could still be around as well.
Oh, dude,
it would make sense for him to be.
Vader's
That'd be sick to see him.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Vader fought a lot of people.
He did.
Vader fought
which is
so many
cool.
people,
and it's all fun to see.
All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men.
I love that. I saw that.
Hard. So hard, dude. Oh,
he's one
I
of
just
the
want to
best
see a live
villains
action of that and see
dude,
what
right?
Just a live action.
Did you guys see that? Like, it was like a reimagined Obi-Wan and Darth Vader hallway fight from Episode 4.
Oh yeah, very well done.
Reimagined was phenomenal. Very
I want to see
choreographed.
something like that,
Ooh.
but where
Very
he's
well choreographed.
like just cutting through like hundreds of rebels.
Oh yeah, my
wanna-
favorite person that does that, dude. This guy, it's an artist named Daniel Warren Johnson. He's a comic book artist. Okay, he is heavily inspired by Berserk, and so he draws like Vader, kind of like how Guts is drawn, like slicing people apart. And it's like Vader going crazy on. There's so many of these. You
What-
need to look
What's
that
it
up,
called?
dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
gonna look that up right now.
I'll put it in the
Let's check it.
comments. The name of him. It's Daniel Warren Johnson. He does my favorite Vader artwork I've ever seen, and it looks like a manga.
I don't know how this is gonna work. Let me see how it
That
looks.
just popped into my head. It's so. Let's see. Look up Vader. Look up Vader, and you'll see it pretty quickly. It's so worth looking at.
Holy shit, that's
Yep,
so cool.
right there. First one,
Yeah.
Harris.
Jesus
Look at that.
Christ.
That's
He's
my
using the-
Vader. That's
he's-
how I imagine him in my head.
Literally using the Force to push the skin off this guy's skull.
Yeah, it's that powerful. It's nuts.
Ooh,
It is.
you just saying
visceral.
that. That's what I would have liked to see. Maybe not so visceral and like dark side, maybe minded,
don't
but
know.
that's what we should have seen from Ezra. Like that, we should have seen some like we should have seen Ezra doing some Mace Windu stuff from like animated Clone Wars 2D.
Absolutely. Oh, good
That's what we should have
reference,
seen.
bro.
Yeah, great reference.
That
Where
would
he-
have been dope.
but 3 feet backwards. Come on.
It's like that was, and for him to be rocked that way by Shin 20 seconds later, I'm just like, I understand she might be more like well versed at the moment, but like,
I
hey,
mean, you gotta give it to. I mean, Ezra's character has always been kind of like clumsy and kind of quick witted, but quick to make decisions, kind of thing. I mean, you see him be like, "Wait! You want to take us prisoner? You want to take us prisoner, right? Let's talk about this. Come on, guys. You know." I feel
Yeah.
like he's good at getting out of situations, but he doesn't get out of every situation, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's him as a character, and I feel like he would get rocked by Shin just because he's imbalanced. He's not used to fighting, but he that's just an idea.
there we go. Is that how we
It's
work?
an idea that I kind of think about. Yeah.
Okay, I like that thought process, but that also feels like, and I feel like they're making him feel more like Ezra from season 1 and 2 of Rebels than Ezra from season 3 and 4 of Rebels, because he's really he matures a lot in those 2 seasons, or he doesn't act so much like that, I guess, and he is a lot more like his own person, and Kanan gets blinded during that time, so he has to step into that role that he wasn't there earlier. That maturity is forced upon him, and I think it helps the series a lot, of course, and that's why those last 2 seasons are just magnificent.
So,
But
in what ways do you think he needs to change as a character? Like, I'm curious to see. Like, do you think him fighting was an issue at all? Because he was using the Force pretty well, and like he using a blaster pretty well. Do you think him not picking up the lightsaber was a bad choice, or what?
all of that.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on it earlier. We're like,
Could have
if
been
you
intentional,
don't pick
too.
up the lightsaber, don't pick up the blaster 2 seconds later. Also, we talked about earlier is like, if he's gonna do this Force karate type of thing, do some like Chirrut Imwe from Rogue One, or do Mace Windu from Clone Wars 2D. Do something like that and make it visually entertaining in that sense, because the slowness of the choreography, where it just wasn't like, it didn't feel like I've got Force powers and I'm pushing you away from me. The clunkiness and the slowness of it made Thrawn's dialogue less weighted down, which made it feel a little clunkier and made it feel like, now I'm just being the smart guy in the room. And the pacing there just didn't work necessarily. And I guess we've kind of talked about it a couple times, but it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's not what I think any of us expected it to be, but it's probably where we should have honed our expectations to begin with. But then again, we've seen Chirrut Imwe. We've seen Visions going on right now and them doing incredible things with their animation and their storyboards there. Why can't we have that visually here? Especially if they're willing to give us so many CGI scenes of these Howlers running around. Like, I like the Howlers, they look cool, but if you're going to spend money on the Howlers, I'd rather spend it on the lightsaber battles. I'm just being honest. You know, I'd rather spend it on the force effects, if that makes sense.
Bro, and I was even thinking about it, like it's one of those things shouldn't even be taking away from the budget, because it's like, bro, you put a costume on a horse and then CG its head, and it's not that hard. Like they did that in the original movies to make the banthas. Like it was just elephants. So it's like, I mean, it's not hard. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, that shouldn't have even done it. It's what we were saying earlier. Like it's I think it's this, even though a lot of the cinematography is good, it's a lot of the still shots, but for some reason, whoever the DP is, and I'm not even saying this in a disparaging way, but I just think the action in terms of how it's framed and filmed is not, it's subpar for Star Wars.
That's I guess the thing that I've tried to say that I just haven't found a succinct way to say until now. But for the level of filmmaking that every single person involved in is at, it feels a little amateur for the degree that they have had.
Dude, that's my problem watching all of this stuff. I'm like, put me in there, coach. Like, I got a million different ways we could film this that's way better.
And part of me, obviously, one of the things with Star Wars that is the most frustrating for an audience to attempt to take part in and just be a part of secondhand is the executive producers and like the head honcho and all the brass kind of surrounding it. It feels like a studio has touched it more than they should, where there are your Dave Filoni's, especially for Ahsoka, because the showrunner of it, but then there are your Jon Favreau's. There's even your Deborah Chow. Maybe Deborah Chow could have made Obi-Wan Kenobi a hell of a lot better if it was more in her hands than it is a finely tuned studio product, but I wouldn't mind having less finely tuned product for something with more heart and soul, just at the end of the day. If that makes sense.
No, I get it.
They're supposed to be basically dogs. It's kind of like an equivalent to the Loth Wolf. Yes, but they so much look like Caragors from Lord of the Rings. Like I want to hop on one with an orc and go murder some things. What?
As shit, man.
Of course, you know. But yeah, did you hear what we were just saying, Christian? We were
talking about you. You know, we're talking a lot.
Fair, dude. So
I was filling them in just a little bit, you know.
Please do.
We were saying, like, I guess in a more succinct way, we've been talking about it the whole time, but like for the level of filmmaking everybody involved in these projects are, and Ahsoka included, they're all capable of much more, and it feels just a little amateurish at times whenever it's just like, yo, you have Disney money, you have Oscar winning or huge production quality type people here. Let's just do just up the ante just a notch, not a whole bunch, but just a notch. If that,
yeah, I agree. I mean,
you know,
pretty much, he pretty much summed it up. Yeah, that was
perfect. Disney has an insane budget.
I mean, we've also seen where money doesn't solve all problems. I think they need to. I think the creative aspect of things really needs to be honed in. Yeah, they have the budget to do what that's need be, but we've also seen Rings of Power. You know, so money is not the end all to end all.
It's like, yeah, dude, sick wide shots. How about you film something? Sick CG wide shot. Yeah. Anybody can give me that.
Like, and they haven't even given us good wide shots lately with Star Wars because of like the volume, which I love, but like at the same time, give us some volume at times when it makes sense, but then give us some real world when it makes sense. And Ahsoka thankfully is doing that, which I really appreciate. But yeah, it's not like a money thing. It's give the freaking creators creative control. It feels like the studios finally tuned it. Just they tuned it the wrong way. Instead of turning the creative notch up, they tuned it somewhere else. It was a misdial. I don't know. My metaphors are getting whack. You know, put the money where it's needed. Damn right. You know,
bring back the fight choreographers of the prequels. It's that simple.
No,
hire those people again, and you'll be fine.
Nick Gillard. I was like,
yeah, that's it. That's him. Yes, you're right.
Like, there we go.
That's him.
I was gonna have an aneurysm if I couldn't think of that. We're good. We're good. Save myself there.
Yeah, get Nick and his team, and I think you'll be set.
Well, Nick Gillard played the master trainer of the Jedi in the prequels. Syndrelic, that's the guy's name. And we see him.
way.
He might have been one of the people that died in that Grogu vision. He was probably the one that was leading the like 2 or 3 people that died with the green lightsaber. Long hair, white dude, older dude with the white hair.
But in the prequels, that was actually him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's sick.
Right before that Keller and Beck scene where Keller and Beck saves Grogu. Which also, where the hell's Keller and Beck? But that's a whole different thing. We can get into that any other time. Yeah. Well, hell, we are an hour and 50 into this puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have any final thoughts before we kind of call it a day? Anything else? Should we scroll through some
this
chats,
finale? Better be great, man. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting for
They
it.
better wrap this up very well.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else nervous or just me? Okay.
I'm super on the edge of my seat, honestly.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Are you
Nervous.
cautiously optimistic? Are you fully optimistic? Are you
I'll say
just
like Obi-Wan.
nervous? Or are you like, oh God, or are you just like frankly just scared?
I
Like,
am cautiously optimistic for sure. Absolutely.
that's where I'm at, I think.
But yeah, I think we'll be satisfied just like we will in Mando. Just like in the end of Mando. We're gonna have a good setup. We're either gonna have a really great setup for next season or we're gonna have a good finish, which I don't think will happen. I don't think it's gonna end here.
Possible to have both? Or is it going to be like we lose our lackluster finish for a cool opening for next season? And I don't know. I don't want to put that out there.
We will wait and see.
Yes. Brad, Christian?
I think the best way I could say it is like I feel right now how I felt with like Force Awakens, where everything I've seen has been a excellent setup to high level, very interesting concepts. And so I want to see Dave stick the landing and further set things up for, however this the Thrawn ascendancy will culminate.
I could have said that better myself.
Yeah.
I agree completely with Brad. It's an amazing setup. I've loved what I've seen. I just hope it's a satisfying end.
I hope we're all satisfied by the end of this episode. I mean, no, not like that. I didn't mean to like.
Well, he's edging. He loves the edge.
Don't you know?
Wait.
I hope my final load is satisfying.
I hope it's not a hard watch.
Yeah. An easy cleanup.
Real quick, while you're making me laugh.
What's that?
Did you see the Kill Tony this week, Christian, with Ric Flair?
No, I didn't watch that. Ric Flair was on it though.
I didn't think I wasn't gonna like Ric Flair ever in my life, but Ric Flair is.
I was
lost.
like this close to going to it, but I just wanted to stay home.
You got to go to all of them just so I can live vicariously.
I know.
You know,
well, I try to. I'm going out tomorrow, but not Kill Tony. I'm just gonna go hit up some other clubs.
Well, are you gonna go perform?
This
man's a comedian down here.
Yeah,
in the comedy capital of the world.
Whoa.
Yeah,
right.
I'm about to go. Yeah, I do it every time I can. I just recently had surgery, so I'm just kind of chilling a lot. So it's like, do I want to go downtown? Nah.
Yes.
I'd rather just sit in my bed and watch The Sopranos, which, by the way, I just started. Fucking
you
so
just
good.
started?
Just started The Sopranos.
I've been literally Christian's in the Getaway movie with me if anybody's in here because I've talked about it. I keep saying I need to start The Sopranos for people. After from Getaway, I've just been like,
yeah, that's why I started because Malcolm and Jesse were talking about it like every fucking day.
I know, and it's just been in my head since. It's just
same. So one day I was just like, might as well, and I love it. It's actually probably the best show I think I've ever seen.
Damn. I need to watch it. It's one of those ones that like should have been watched a long time ago, but I need to watch it.
Just like Rebels.
Yes.
I just finished that too.
Which, if y'all haven't seen Rebels, go see Rebels. That's for the comments. I think we all have.
Trying to get people to watch Star Wars shows. It's so hard to get people to.
Well, dude, the whole thing
to get into Star Wars. You know,
because they're like, oh, it's cartoony. I don't want to watch that baby shit. And it's like, no.
Then
dude.
we got live action stuff. Then they're like, well, I got to start from the right spot. I'm like, all right, I'll tell you where to go. They're like, but I can't. I got this thing to do.
If you have a guide, don't worry. But even in the cartoony stuff, and even in the most even in season 1 of Rebels or season 1, 2, 3 of Clone Wars, every episode you're watching decapitations or limb slices or people literally like melting inside of their armor. Like these things happen very frequently.
You're talking about this kids show, this show for children.
Oh,
with corporate espionage, shows? With Palpatine, like with
so many war crimes and.
I mean, Chopper is a walking war crime.
Chopper alone, I mean, you saw him in the latest episode, like in a courtroom. Like, that's right. Let them get away with doing rebel stuff. I mean, no one's looking at me.
Chopper. I fucking love Chopper.
You know what took way too long?
Over 300,000.
What took way too long in this episode was like one of the action sequences was all like the clunkiness we were talking about with the Howlers and the Noti or the Noti, whatever they're called, and Ezra and Sabine having to fight everybody off. It just felt a little slow.
It felt very Rebels.
They needed Chopper in there to come in there and just wipe the floor for him.
It felt very Rebels fighting the Inquisitors and no one really dies kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like you're right. Like
but I mean, I was joking. Chopper would have killed the hell out of everybody. It would have been great to have him.
If Chopper was there, no
couple
one
war
was
crimes.
Like Thrawn wouldn't know what to do about Chopper. Okay.
He didn't. I honestly, Chopper's a good reason why I think they won at the end of the day is just
unpredictability. That's Thrawn's biggest weakness, and Chopper is unpredictable.
That was a beautiful line. Thrawn would have Thrawn didn't like Vader. That was one of the reasons he had to be like lizard all the time.
There's a lot of people looking this way, thinking that Ahsoka is going to be the hero of this, but no, Chopper's going to come out of left field.
It's Chopper
with a ship or some giant bomb that he just found lying around, and
he's just more people than you thought.
He's just like, wow, no one's using this. And I'm right next to it, so
might as well.
And that's Thrawn's ship over there. What am I gonna? You know how many like? Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I think legitimately my 3 favorite Star Wars characters are probably I just love Count Dooku. Count Dooku is just my favorite.
Yep.
He's great. But after that, it's probably Hondo and Chopper. Like I love Hondo and Chopper, both of them.
I didn't think I'd like Chopper as much as I'd like R2, but I love Chopper.
I love R2, but Chopper's my favorite droid.
R2 is more reserved and precise.
Well, he's still crazy. I mean, R2 commits war crimes all the time, too. He's killed... The only person that's killed more people, I think, in the Star Wars universe than R2 is Palpatine and Chopper.
Yeah, but I feel like... Yeah. No, Chopper... He thought... Oh, my God. He's just crazy. He's so... you can't compare it to any other droid. I feel like he's on his own personal level. R2's great. He's a fan favorite that's been with the original trilogy. But outside of the original trilogy, this dude takes the cake. Chopper's a one-man machine.
Oh, he's great.
One-man menace.
It was great, and I'm not spoiling anything. This may just happen, I guess, in an episode of Rebels, Brad. Sorry, but Chopper and R2 they are friends, which just makes perfect sense.
I like Chopper.
Oh, yeah. He's great. Okay, but we are at 1 hour 58 minutes. I don't want to keep y'all too long. To end this, Schmook put this in here at the very beginning. Who is sick? I forgot to mention at the beginning. Schmook is sick at the moment. He was with us in heart. Y'all were chatting with him. He was holding down the chat for a long
Rebels
time.
Cast in live action.
But
Rebels
yes, what is everybody's rank for the end? I guess as many people as you can name off and think. Go for it.
I'll go first. Chopper's number 1 for me.
Chopper's number 1?
Chopper. 10.
But who else? You've got Hera, you've got Ahsoka, you've got Ezra, you've got Sabine, you've got Zeb. Even in Mandalorian. You've got Chopper.
Callus.
We haven't seen Callus in live action, which
we're going to. We're going to.
We need Callus and we need Finn Rao and we need Zeb.
Okay.
I like Hera. To be real, I do like Hera, and
she looks great.
She's she's married to Obi-Wan or Owen McGregor, so they're the best power couple in the galaxy. So she's got to be my second favorite, besides Chop.
I think I'm going Hera.
Hera.
She looks excellent.
Super hot. She's a good character. I'm in.
Super hot. Good character. That's all you.
They give me both. They give me both.
They gave you both, dude.
So with those categorizations though, Shin or Hera?
Oh, Shin.
Shin, okay. Dude.
I was about to say
easy.
Shin is the waifu of this series.
Shin's mommy, bro. I'll let her force choke me all day.
Every day. Every day.
Yeah, she seems like goth or something. I'm there.
She's
for it.
Goth, but like
she is
Claro. Oh.
Yes.
I feel like she also smokes like. I feel like she smokes like American Spirit light blues, and I just want her to step on me and force choke me.
Yes,
Shin,
rightfully so.
Based as fuck, man.
You know.
Well, this has been great, guys.
That's incredible.
I have to go. Anyway,
on that
great,
note,
guys.
Sorry, Mom.
Sci-Fi Quest says, "Oh, you know what? I think Hu Yang would be my favorite live action translation so far.
Probably really good. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Rebels, but yeah, Hu Yang is a really great adaptation to live action for sure.
Yeah, Baylan, I guess, and Shin aren't necessarily in there, but Ahsoka is obviously wonderful. Hera's amazing. Chopper's great. I don't know. I'd have to think longer for an actual order, but I think Chopper, Ahsoka, Hera would be my top three.
Yeah.
Zeb would be my number one if we've heard more from him, but what we've got so far per capita, Zeb might be number one.
We'll see more. We'll see more Zeb.
Well, this has been wonderful. Shall we call it a day, y'all?
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking, I might as well put this up. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, share that to your people, all that good stuff.
You better do it.
It's fun. We enjoy this stuff. I hope y'all enjoy it. Obviously, we all enjoy it, I guess, because we're talking Ahsoka, and that's what we're here to talk
absolutely.
about. So it's fantastic.
All right.
This was great. Ventress is mentioned live action appearance, maybe. Witches and Thrawn, A New Dawn. Damn right. You know, that's actually the title of the episode, so I'm keeping it up. And we're ending it on there. We're rolling the intro / outro. Say your goodbyes.
Never back down, never what?
Thanks for having me back, brother. I loved it.
Of course.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
We have one more episode, one more week. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm counting down the days.
All right. Hasta.